All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Lots to talk about today. We'll start off here with the Xbox Game Pass roadmap that was just released with games that we already know are coming out, plus just looking at how awesome Game Pass is going to be between now and the early 2025. We'll talk about that, plus many other things like PlayStation had some big announcements. Nintendo is suing Palworld. So lots of crazy things happening. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that sub, share the video around, like the video if you did enjoy it, and check out my Spotify. Link is in the description. So Game Pass is ramping up here. We are getting into probably the best time of the year, the best time in the last little while of just consistent Xbox games releasing day one onto the service, first party stuff, as well as a third party deal and third party games overall. So really good. I think we're getting in now into that new era of Xbox because all the acquisitions are done and things are now finally starting to roll. I know this is 4 years into the Xbox Series X and S, but we're finally getting to that point where I think we're going to get a first party game consistently every 4 months or so. They said they wanted to put 4 out every year. I think they can easily surpass that and have games just waiting to be released with all the studios that they do have. And this is a look here at the roadmap. These are all the day one games that are coming right now that we know of between September and February. So you have Frostpunk 2, which was just announced day one, Aura History Untold coming September 24th, and then Frostpunk September 20th. A Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is going to be the biggest day one Xbox Game Pass release I think they've ever done, coming October 25th. That is going to be a huge turning point here for Xbox, and the statistics that come out of that will be very interesting in terms of how does it affect sales, which I don't think it's going to have a massive effect. I think it will still be the top selling game. How many Game Pass subscribers does this drive? All of that stuff will be interesting to look at after the release of it. Then we have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 coming November 19th, Stalker 2 November 20th, The Alters coming between now and the end of the year. It just says 2024, and that was a game that was shown off at a showcase previously, like a sci-fi base building survival game. Looks pretty interesting, one that definitely caught a lot of people's attention. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, December 9th. 33 Immortals Zenting game preview, January 25th, 2025. And then Avowed, which I'm very excited for, coming February 18th, 2025. So Xbox just put out this quick roadmap, and it's crazy how many games are coming day one. So your catalog is going to continue to fill up. Now, as we know, with Xbox, they have the Ambassadors program. This has been a thing for a while here, and it looks like it is now coming to an end. The Xbox Ambassadors put this tweet out yesterday saying, over the last 13 years, Xbox Ambassadors have played a key role in fostering connections and positivity among Xbox players, whether hosting a gaming session for players to connect or providing feedback on our games and hardware. You have helped shape Xbox in so many ways. Well, we have learned so much from this passionate group. Today, we are announcing the final season of the Xbox Ambassadors program as we continue to integrate its values across our platforms and focus on creating more ways for you to directly influence and impact Xbox for all. Thank you for keeping the Xbox community supported, safe, and fun for everyone, and for everything you'll continue to do. Live the Xbox community pledge. For the official announcement, go here. So they have an official announcement. I believe this program is coming to an end here on October 15th, will be the last day of the Xbox Ambassadors program. And there's a bunch of stuff here. If you're in that program, I'm not in that program, but if you are in that program, there's a section here of what this could mean for you. So definitely go through and read that if you're interested in what this is going to mean for the future of Xbox Ambassadors, things that they've worked for, because I know you get points and things like that in quests. So this is it. This is the end of the Xbox Ambassadors program. All right, let's talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. As we just talked about in that roadmap, it is a day one game, and it is a massive game. This is a game that's pretty crazy to see running, especially on something like the Xbox Series S, but one of the most realistic games with the technology that they do use in it. You really get like you're flying in a plane and flying over places that you want to see, or maybe over where you live and things like that. But the file size of this game is just insane. It's over 130 gigabytes with the original game. And it looks like they've done a lot of work here to make the file size very small, which is going to be very important for the Xbox Series S, if you have the one that has 512 gigabytes of storage, you're going to be very, very happy to hear this. It says Microsoft says the installation size for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 has been reduced to about 30 gigabytes. So it's a huge reduction in the size of the game itself. And it says by tapping into the latest cloud streaming technology and streaming in the higher detailed areas that are only necessary for your flight path. So very cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you don't need when you're playing this game. If you have to download the entire file, they're using this technology and basically just feeding you what you're going to need depending on where you are flying over. It says the game will also no longer require players to download hefty world updates, but not at the cost of the game looking worse, which is very important because I feel like that's a big question that does come up when you see a huge file size be reduced by that much. So the data will instead be streamed on demand with higher resolution graphics being swapped in as players soar closer to landmarks like airports and cities. So cool stuff there. We'll see how this works. I mean, once this does come out, we'll see if there's issues with this, if people notice these pop-ins. That's kind of my biggest question right now. Will you be flying towards it and then all of a sudden you see it pop up, or is it going to be doing it fast enough in advance that you're not going to notice anything? You're just going to have a smaller file size, still very high resolution graphics, and get the full flight simulator experience. If you are a fan of this game, of course, as we mentioned here, it's coming in November 19th, where you will be able to jump in. Now, if you're a fan of Call of Duty, which I think a lot of people are, I mean, it is the best-selling game every year. The backwards compatible games are on sale once again. And every time this happens, I get excited. I think maybe this is when we're going to finally see these games dropping into Game Pass. We know that Microsoft fixed these servers on the old 360 games, and that was awesome. I have them all, and I was able to jump in and play multiplayer. It's just nostalgic and fun to go back to, I say, the golden age of Call of Duty. But they're all on sale again, plus many other games on sale here, up to about 80% off. Lots of cool stuff here, but all of them are on sale here. Call of Duty 2, 3, Black Ops 2, MW2, MW3, and then Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 here. All on sale up to about 50% off, from $15 to about $10 if you do want to jump in and pick them up to jump and play the multiplayer, or even play the single player campaigns, which are fun in pretty much all of them. So cool stuff there. Lots of big sales. Go check those out before it does go away. Okay, now Tango Gameworks. Hi-Fi Rush. Obviously, the story surrounding this has been sad. When we heard that Microsoft was closing down Tango Gameworks, a lot of people were up in arms, very outraged about this, because Hi-Fi Rush is a phenomenal game. For me, it was the game of the year last year when it did launch. I think it was deserving so more even than Starfield, just with the creativity, a new style of game that we hadn't seen, with like the whole combat and the music put together very, very well. We hadn't seen something this unique in a while, and it came out with like no issues at all, no technical issues. It was pretty much perfect. And when they closed down Tango Gameworks, it was a head scratcher, because it was a brand new creative IP. You think that they would want to foster this, put out a second one, and continue to build off of something here that a lot of people thought was great. But the question that came to everybody's mind right away was, how successful was this game? A lot of people talked about it. A lot of people were outraged when they closed down the studio. I just don't think it sold very well. And even after it went on to other platforms, I don't think it did as well as Xbox had expected it to. So they had to make a business decision to cut costs, and that was the decision that they made. Disagreed with it, but it is what it is. Luckily, Krafton stepped up here, purchased Tango Gameworks, and is going to hopefully be here keeping Hi-Fi Rush alive with a Hi-Fi Rush 2. They had some interesting comments on this acquisition and on Hi-Fi Rush that I think is a breath of fresh air. Whether they follow through on some of the stuff that they say here is a different story, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is what's going to make all of these decisions. I think no matter how many times companies come out and try to sell goodwill, the bottom line will end up making the decision. If they're not going to lose money on games, they are going to have to make decisions and sell stuff and create stuff that they know will bring them back a profit. But we have this interview with game developer and Chang Han Kim, who is the CEO of Krafton, explaining the decision to acquire Tango, saying, "We wanted to maintain their legacy. Although they did not have a big success in their games, we saw many creatives worth pursuing. That's why we wanted to work with that organization." So they admitted there the game was not successful overall, or not very successful overall. They continue on here to say, we can't acquire Tango Gameworks based on their financials or their numbers, right? We don't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us money, to be frank, but it's part of our attempt. We have to keep trying to develop games in the spirit of challenge taking. And that right there is a great thing to hear. I mean, that is a breath of fresh air to hear about. They're honest. Like Hi-Fi Rush 2 probably isn't going to make them money, probably isn't going to make them very much money at all. And that was my biggest thing. All of the outrage out there when they closed down Tango Gameworks and people complaining that there wasn't going to be a Hi-Fi Rush 2. The reality is most people were just hopping on. And how many people were actually going to go out and purchase the game if they were to create a sequel? I just personally don't think it was going to be a huge hit and a huge seller. And Crafton here is admitting that they can see the financials. They understand that Hi-Fi Rush overall didn't make a lot of money. So you're doubtful that Hi-Fi Rush 2 is also. Now there may be some extra push here because of the whole controversy surrounding it and the closure of the studio and then being purchased here by Crafton, but I don't think it's going to be a massive commercial success. But that's not really with the gamers and what is important here when you're looking at the creativity side of this game. Being able to take a new IP, foster it, and continue it to grow through multiple different iterations could eventually turn it into something far bigger than where it has started. And it's great that Crafton is deciding to take that on and take that risk, at least from what they are saying here. They continue here and say, Tango Gameworks are creative. They want us to try something new, and we want to do more of that. Video games is really a hit or miss industry, and that risk is taking. But having more project lineups is actually a way to mitigate risk because one of them might work out. And they add here, just recoup the production costs, please, is what I say. So in terms of how well they want the games to do. But that in and of itself is a pretty big challenge. If you try doing that, you might actually land a big hit. I don't trust people who say, oh, this is going to be a hit. I want someone who can try something new. The big hit shouldn't be your goal. If you think about it, the way that Hi-Fi Rush might have brought in a little bit of a minus in terms of financials, but it's a team that should be encouraged to create something new and continue their journey. We want to have more teams like that under our umbrella. So cool stuff there. I really hope that this isn't all talk, and at the end of the day, when it comes down to greenlighting all of these titles and greenlighting Hi-Fi Rush 2, Crafton is fully on board, and we get to see a sequel of this game because the first one was absolutely incredible. So great stuff there from Crafton, at least from what they are saying on the future and what they plan to do with Hi-Fi Rush. Okay, massive story here. This happened late last night, and not that shocking, but I thought because of the time pass, Nintendo just wasn't going to waste their time in doing anything with Palworld and basically suing Pocket Pair for infringement. So they have officially, Nintendo has officially, and the Pokemon Company, they're officially suing Pocket Pair for Palworld. And it's an interesting one here. It's not what you think it is. It's not because of the designs. They're not going after the actual designs of the PALs being similar to Pokemon. They're going after the game mechanics and saying that they have infringed on that. So basically this is what it says. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringements of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked to establish over the years. And they say, although the gameplay of Palworld is vastly different from Nintendo series, debates swelled around the perceived influence its characters designed have taken from Pokemon and whether it could be interpreted as plagiarism. Now, it's not that they are going after for this lawsuit. They say, however, the lawsuit filed today is a patent suit and not a copyright suit. It suggests Nintendo and the Pokemon Company complaint is likely focused on its gameplay inventions rather than similarities between the characters' design. I mean, there's so much different in Palworld in the way that the game plays, in the crafting, the building, the survival. I mean, even the Pokemon having weapons and things like that. There's just so much different in this game comparatively to Pokemon, but Nintendo thinks that they have a case here that they're going to be able to prove that they stole some of their gameplay inventions and they've put it directly into Palworld. I mean, you could look at certain things that are similar, and my fear here is that Nintendo is a very big company. They're very rich, and I don't think they would have put out this lawsuit unless they truly think they have a chance at victory. Because if you look at all the things that they have sued, all the people they have sued, they've won a lot of lawsuits with copyright and patent infringements. So we'll see what happens here with Palworld. This could be the end. I mean, depending on how much, if Nintendo does win, how much they win from this lawsuit, this could be a very, very bad for Pocket Pair and very bad for Palworld. Pocket Pair has responded to this news. They did come out with a big letter here, and basically they're just saying that they're sad that they have to spend time dealing with this lawsuit at this point rather than focusing on the game's development. They say Pocket Pair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We will continue to pursue this goal because we know that our games bring joy to millions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and for us. We are blown away by the amazing response to the game and have been working hard to make it even better for our fans, and they're going to continue to improve it. And they say it's truly unfortunate we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. So there you have it. I mean, they also mention at this moment, we are unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon. So we will hear a lot more about this and see what happens. But I'm a little bit worried here for Palworld and Pocket Pair. It does not seem like you could really come up with a case in terms of the gameplay mechanics. I mean, battling creatures is something you see across many games, but it does seem like Nintendo, who has a history of doing this, have been on the winning side before. Would they go ahead with this lawsuit unless they were pretty sure that they had a chance at victory? So hopefully everything does work out in the end of the day, and Palworld and Pocket Pair don't get destroyed too much from this entire thing. Okay, let's jump over here because we have some cool PlayStation. I think this is really awesome. I mean, the price of this stuff is going to be absurd, but I love what they've done here with the designs. They put out their PlayStation 30th anniversary collection where they're just throwing it back to the PS1 with the color scheme and the PlayStation logo, which I think is the best logo. I don't know why they ever went back. They changed the logo to just a single color. I love how they have the multiple colors on this PlayStation logo. I love how they have the multiple colors on the face buttons. The PS1 had some really cool looking stuff, and they are releasing a PS5 Pro, a PlayStation Slim, the DualSense Edge, the PlayStation Portal, and the regular DualSense here, all with that classic PlayStation 1 color. And it looks pretty awesome. Now, we don't know, and I guess they're also doing the disc drive as well and the controller charger. Now, it says here the pre-orders will begin on September 26th. And if you want the PlayStation 5 Pro bundle, Sony is only making 12,300 of them. So that's going to be the hottest commodity. That's going to be something that everybody is trying to get. And then you're going to see them pop up on eBay for scalpers trying to get double and triple the amount of them. They're making the PS5 Pro very scarce to try to create that artificial demand, and it's going to be pretty crappy with scalpers. I feel like even the other stuff there, I don't know how many units, they don't say how many units they are making of this, but even those, if they sell out right away when these things do launch, you're going to see the scalpers going crazy and trying to resell them. But the overall design, I love what they did here. I think this looks really, really cool. If you are a fan of PlayStation from back in the day, I had a PS1, I had a PS2. I've had every PlayStation since they launched, and the PS1 is just very nostalgic for me, as I was a much bigger PlayStation 1 guy back then than I was an N64. The PS1 was my main one during that generation. Okay, jumping over here, it looks like we will get another state of play before the end of September from PlayStation. The rumors going around here that it is going to be on September 24th. Now, we don't know really what is going to be announced within this state of play, but speculation is that it's mainly going to be like third-party stuff and potentially a remaster here, another remaster from PlayStation, an even less exciting remaster than Horizon. This comes via Jeff Grubb, who's saying that they could show that off, but he did clarify exactly that he does not know what the game is or exactly what the state of play is going to entail. He does say, whoa, no, I don't know what's going to be in the state of play. There are some things I've heard of independently from, but I don't know where these things will show up. Now, with all that being said, there is speculation here that the less exciting remaster that PlayStation is going to show off at their next state of play is going to be Days Gone. And the reason for this is because you have Jordan Midler here from VGC quote tweeting about the PlayStation state of play, saying if he was angry that his character is an Astrobot, he's going to lose his mind at this. And this is in reference to, if you remember, John Garvin, the creator of Deacon from Days Gone, and seeing him an Astrobot and thinking that it was kind of a disservice to keep that character alive in that way. So this is suggesting here when he sees that they're going to continue with another Days Gone, but it's just going to be a remaster of the first one, he's going to be even more pissed off, because there was that whole story that he wanted to make Days Gone 2 and PlayStation would not allow them to do it. They put their studios basically to work on one of the multiple Last of Us remasters and remakes and everything that they've continued to do there. So another remaster could be coming from PlayStation. It's just basically what their strategy is. Let's remaster all of our old games and let's double dip on all of our customers until we have some new games that we are ready to release. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up if you're new, or hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.